And we are back.
We are back.
Yeah.
No, you are not on your best form today.
I'm not on my best form. I've just landed literally an hour and a half ago.
That's not
from
true.
America.
He's
2
very
hours
tired.
ago.
He
2
is
hours ago.
very, very tired.
Maybe you want to introduce our guest first?
This is Christopher Lawless, the King of Yorkshire.
Hello.
The King of Yorkshire meaning as in he is currently Tour De Yorkshire champion or like past winner? How would you say it?
Winner?
Winner?
Overall winner?
Overall winner.
Yeah,
He's
like-
He's the yellow jersey guy in Yorkshire.
blue.
Yeah, but like for people that don't know what it is.
Yeah.
The yellow jersey of the Tour de France. He's like that guy but in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. But tell us, I want to find, before we move on to Christopher Lawless and the main interview, you've got some news because you've been away. Tell us about your travels.
I've been away. Been away for 2 weeks. That's why we had to miss out on a week's podcast. Been in America racing in Trexlertown, and it didn't go. It didn't go to plan. Oh, to be fair, it was expected that I wasn't gonna go that well, but I didn't qualify in 3 races, so it was pretty terrible.
3 out of how many?
4.
That's not too bad. Oh, no, that's pretty bad.
No, no, I didn't qualify twice out of 3 sprint races, and then did 2 Kieran races as well. So it was in total, how many were 5 races?
And you saw some Amish people? You'd never seen them before?
Yes, we've seen Amish people. It was very new to me. Have you ever seen any?
I haven't. No, I've seen. No, never seen any Amish
Yeah,
people.
it was fascinating.
Have you ever seen Amish people, Christopher?
Isn't the Amish people that a lot of them are in Utah? Is that Amish people?
They're mainly in Pennsylvania, I believe.
Pennsylvania, yeah. I don't know what you're
Where
thinking
is it?
of.
Nah, there's some sort of part of Christianity that
I'm sure there's
there's
some
a lot
kind of
in
Christianity in Utah.
It's a very a bit like the Amish that live very old school and.
Cheers for that amazing insight there.
I haven't got a clue what
I'm
you're
sure
on
I'm going to be a great guest on this show.
And you went to New York City.
Went to New York, yeah, on the last day. Cycled 30k on the hire bike.
Boris Bike equivalent.
Boris Bike, yeah. And, yeah.
Well, it's good
Flew home overnight and landed here at 11:30 a.m. And now it's 2 o'clock. So
Well, it's good you've got some news for the first time in the last couple of podcasts, because
Yeah.
usually you just have nothing at all.
yeah, that's true. Actually, something happened in my life instead of just...
You stayed
Going
in a
to
drug
another
den
room.
while you were there as well.
Yeah, the accommodation wasn't great. I think we've been stitched up out there, but we got through it, and I'm back home now.
Some people ended up sleeping on the floor because it was more comfortable, you said.
Yeah, one person. Have you got any news?
Oh, I've got news. I've suffered heartbreak again.
Heartbreak again.
Yeah.
But you weren't in a relationship.
No, I know.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Like life has its ups and downs, Phil?
Yeah.
What else am I doing? It's been a bit quiet because you've been away and so's Cian. Cian's away in Portugal getting rained on again. British Cycling asked for my bike back again.
Why don't you just give it back?
It's missing.
I'm sure I saw someone riding it down my street.
Well, then you tip him off to the police.
You got something in common with Chris.
What's that?
His bike got stolen
Did
recently.
Yeah, I actually had a bike stolen.
Well, actually stolen or fake stolen?
Actually stolen.
Okay.
Out the garden, yeah.
Well, you just left a Pinarello Dogma just sitting in the garden.
I left it as I was making some food. I was going to wash it.
Which part of town do you live in?
Where the Aston Martin garage, just right down that street.
Oh, okay, well, if you're looking to steal another Pinarello Dogma, the Aston Martin Wilmslow, just hang around there and you'll probably see one sitting outside.
Well, you just moved, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just moved to the opposite side of town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go near Dill's house. That's probably the best bet.
I've got an interesting fact about that Aston Martin garage.
What's the fact?
It's I think like a couple of years ago it had the most sales worldwide out of any Aston Martin dealership.
Still the most selling one, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's weird. You think it'd be in Dubai or like Qatar or something like that.
But it's quite a rich part.
It is. You've driven an
Martin
Aston
UK.
Martin in your time.
I have, yeah. couple of Aston Martins.
Oh, I don't need to brag, James.
Yeah.
Aston Martins aren't outrageous enough for Dubai and Qatar.
No, they're probably not.
Need a Lamborghini or.
And Phil likes like reflective green Oakleys, so they're probably not outrageous enough for him either.
No.
Is that why he's not had one in a while?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
wrong with reflective Oakleys.
The reflective green Oakleys is. I mean, like, do you want to have the Bluetooth earpiece as well?
I need to.
Actually, you drive a BMW, so you'd probably fit those all together. We could.
Yeah, I've got a photo of Jackie you enjoy. Show you it.
Well, this probably isn't that good for the podcast, but.
But talking of reflective.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's tragic.
Yeah, that's tragic.
I mean, no offense to anyone, but if you wear reflective blue, green, electric orange Oakleys as casual glasses, like you do,
Not anymore.
well, there's a chance you're probably going to be the guy tailgating the person in front of you on the motorway the whole time.
Let's. Have you got any more news?
More news. I'm incredibly busy. I'm off on the road after this. So off down to London and then a couple flights all around the place.
To meet another very old friend, lady friend, I heard.
No, not necessarily. Just off to get a bit of sunshine and...
Catching up with a friend.
Well, you know, there's things going on in London. There's things going on you know, I like to see the world.
Okay.
You've got to see what's out there.
And catching up with friends.
You've got to catch up with friends as well. I've caught up with him in the continent, Chris Lawless.
Yeah.
Just another example of that, catching up with pals.
Any more news then?
Any more news? I'm a very, very busy businessman. That's probably it.
Has Chris got any news for us?
What's your news?
You're busy, man. You're a busy man.
I lead a pretty boring life though, don't I? Ride my bike, go home, watch Netflix. Not really much more.
Well, that's a great pitch up for the future there.
Yeah.
You do have some news, so we were going to ask you about Chris Froome's crash, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, it's not your news, but...
It's not my news, but it's a big hit for the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think...
Can you talk us through the details of what happened? Do you know what went on?
I don't really know. I heard he was blowing his nose maybe or something like that, and yeah, he hit a wall, and yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about his injuries, broken femur. I think was the worst one. But yeah, I think he's just trying to get back fit for next year now. Really, it's probably not going to be this season that he's fit again.
He lost 4 litres of blood apparently.
Really?
Or gallons or something. Probably not gallons, that's quite a lot.
4 litres sounds a lot as well.
Yeah, well I think you've got no. It must be something like that. Is a litres more than a pint or less than a pint? Less.
No.
No, it's more.
It's more.
A
litre more than a pint.
More. Yeah, there's like 2
Anyway, he
pints,
lost
2 pints
4 of something, but you've got 8 pints of blood in your body, so you'd be fine.
Well, if he lost 4 litres, that's all of it.
You got a transfusion though back in, I think.
I think 4 litres is more than 8 pints. A lot more.
Well, I don't know. Someone write in with the answer.
Yeah.
It would be something.
Yeah, we haven't got a clue.
Anyway, so that kind of concludes the news. Let's move on to the main body of the interview, because
Yes.
that last section went amazingly well.
Yeah.
So Chris Lawless, tell us, how did you get into cycling in the very beginning?
Well, my dad's always been in cycling, growing up, always seeing cycling on the TV and stuff like that. And yeah, so from an early age, I always had a bike, but they were always mountain bikes, and used to go on quite a few just day trips with my dad, to trail centres. The earliest trail centre I can remember going to is Grisdale Forest in the Lake District, and I think the first time I went on a proper trip there was maybe when I was about 10.
Have you got any 6 skills?
Not really.
He's been featured in a YouTube video and it
Yeah,
didn't look great.
Don't watch
great.
that. Don't watch that.
It didn't look great, no.
I had to do a video with Triumph where I was on a mountain bike. It didn't look that great either.
But you're terrible on a mountain bike.
Yeah, well, that's the point. That's why I brought up the story.
Yeah, but Chris is actually quite good.
Oh, he is, are you?
Just didn't look that good on the video.
Well, that's the problem with video. Even if you do a big jump on a mountain bike trail and you think, oh, that'll look amazing on video, you put it on video.
Oh no, this was the easy stuff that I failed on.
Oh, like what?
It was just riding up a little,
Riding up
a little steep hill. I just couldn't get my head around it. But yeah, I used to do quite a bit of mountain biking just for fun, really. And then I went watching one of the Revolutions at Manchester, one of the really early ones, when I was about 11. And then from there, I just asked my dad, could I have a go? And went down to Eastlands Velo at Manchester track. And yeah, it just went from there really, and sort of just snowballed. It's a bit of a hobby that got out of hand.
No, fair enough.
Fair play.
You didn't do any other sports? Like Phil's been German champion in rowing. He's been German champion in skiing.
No, I was never. I did a lot of other sports at school and played for like local football team.
What were they called? Good northern name.
So the first one was Ashton Athletic.
No, that's not as good as I hoped.
No, and then Newton Town.
No, that's not as good as I hoped either.
What were you hoping for?
Like, you know the kind of football grounds we see and they've got like adverts for like Pucker Pies on the side, and it'd be like Oldham FC and or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you need something. There's probably a better one out there.
Yeah.
But you know when it just screams the north.
Yeah,
No.
They were pretty small teams,
right,
just
okay.
like youth teams, and
You didn't make it big time.
no, I was more just a hit and hope, big centre half, like because I haven't really grown since I was about 14, so standing on a football pitch next to other 14-year-olds at the size I am now, I was pretty intimidating back then. But
So
yeah,
so your first kind of introduction was to track mainly.
yeah, apart from going mountain biking, it was mainly just the track, and then from there it was just talking to people, like, and then them just suggesting doing a bit of stuff on the road. Obviously it's not proper road racing when you're 14, you're just racing around parks and stuff, but I just really enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed riding my bike. As a kid, just spent every minute I went in school on my bike pretty much. And
So what age were you when track kind of fell by the way? Because like as far as I've remembered you were pretty much always a roadie, pretty much.
Yeah, I think like I was on the academy for a year and a bit. Second year I joined Team Wiggins when I was on the academy, and this track just basically pretty much stopped then. I was still officially on the academy, living in the academy houses. That was where my funding was coming from. But I just always enjoyed the road a bit more, and my heart was never really in the track. I enjoy riding it. Like in the winter, I always try and do like a couple of events, whether it was the Revolutions, which are gone now. They were always fun to ride, and I've done London 6 and Ghent 6, which I enjoy doing. And if I do find the time in the winter to do 6s, I will try and do them.
So you were thinking about doing the 6 this year with London last year?
No.
Yeah, you were. But the thing you got put off by was that the sprinters have to do all this like dancing and shit in the DJ booth.
No, that wasn't the reason. No, I got asked to do the Manchester 6 days.
That was it.
That was like the week after the World Championships. So it was I should have ridden it in my off season.
No, you did ride it. You did ride it, didn't you?
No, I rode Berlin 6 days after 2017.
How were your dance moves in the DJ booth?
We didn't have to do it in Berlin. I think it's changed a bit, and
Does it?
I don't think I would enjoy that.
No.
No, would you?
No.
No.
I forgot to say we've actually got a game going, which I forgot to explain at the start of the interview. So
we've got the game going.
Yeah, we've got a game going. So Lawless has got many a nickname. So you have to refer to him by his nickname. So the nickname you're going to have to give to him is
Sloth.
Wiggin Wagon. Well, you can pick.
Sloth.
I think Wiggin Wagon Wheel is a bit trickier.
Wiggin Wagon Wheel.
Yeah. And mine will be Baby Girl.
What was Baby Girl? I take Baby Girl, actually.
You want to do Baby Girl?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go Wiggin Wagon Wheel.
All right.
And if you say Lawless or anything like that, then you lose a point.
Okay.
So Baby Girl. No, sorry, fuck. So Wiggin Wagon Wheel, where were we? Yeah, well, actually, that's a good point. We could probably just run through the nicknames before we start this game. So where did we'll start with the easy ones first. Wiggin Wagon Wheel, where did that come from?
I think pretty much all of them have come from Duel, if I'm honest. I think it's just a way of him amusing himself when he's bored on races, isn't it?
Well, you guys have got a lot of hours to kill.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously I'm from Wigan, and he was just trying to come up with a funny nickname, and thought, yeah, I bet you like wagon wheels, don't you, Lawless? And I was like, yeah, they're all right. He was like, right, your nickname, Wigan Wagon Wheel. And
that's possibly the worst interpretation of that story ever.
Yeah,
ever heard. I thought it'd be like wagon wheels are fast. You could take it the light way as well.
Yeah, it's not like that coming from Duel though, is it?
Okay. But people started bringing you treats and stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, so Duel basically spoke to Eckers, the graphic designer at our team, and said, can you Photoshop Lawless's face onto a wagon wheel? And then Duel tweeted it and said that it started at Yorkshire last year actually, and he said, yeah, the Wigan wagon wheels in the team, anyone who brings some wagon wheels can get a prize. So yeah, I just had to, every time someone brought some wagon wheels to the team bus, I had to pop my head out the curtains, just literally the curtains around my head, and just say,
thank you.
Have you got my wagon wheels? And yeah, go over, give them a bid on or a cap, and yeah, and
fair enough.
It was that was our fuel for that race.
That's the best thing about roadies. They get a lot more gifts than trackies.
Yeah.
I think I've got one gift in my life.
What was it?
I think it was the placement inflatable flamingo.
That was it, yeah.
I've never blown it up. I think I gave it to charity.
We still haven't had anything sent to us from the podcast.
Have you not?
No.
You need to shout out the address again.
Unless British Cycling just takes it for themselves.
They might do. They might intercept it, actually. We need to start a PO box instead. Why don't you just give out your home address?
No, I'm okay. Let's just go into the nickname Baby Girl.
Yeah, Baby
That was
Girl.
my favourite. You sent
Can you explain us?
You sent a really soppy.
I had an absolute mare. I sent a really soppy text to Emma, my girlfriend, as I was going to bed while I was in Australia on a trip, and yeah, I was checking the daily plan for the next day in the WhatsApp group before I was saying good night to her, and yeah, then as I opened WhatsApp, started typing this message to Emma, finished it off with calling her Baby Girl, and
I think there's more to the message.
Yeah, there's a lot more to the message than that. I ain't gonna go into it. And
you are my everything. You're my reason for being. Anyway,
yeah, pressed the send button and looked up and saw it just said at the top, Australia all, and I was like, oh no. And then it was full panic stations. I was trying to delete the message from the group, and because I was panicking, couldn't really do it quick enough. And then all I got was like messages back from the mechanics and the DS is like, thanks Chris, I'll use that for my missus tonight.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it was
everyone has that shocker where they
before
maybe put something into their own group or whatever.
The worst thing was before the other messages started coming through off the staff, Lukas Wisnowski was in the bed next to me, and I was like, didn't really know what to do at this point. I was still trying to delete it, and I realised he'd seen it when I just saw him look at his phone and just go, ha 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 ha. It's just like, oh god, I am not getting away with this. And
so then for the whole of the Tour Down Under, you were called Baby Girl.
Yeah, luckily it was towards the end of the trip, so
Okay.
But then it did carry on through the classics, which was
great.
the next block of racing.
Nice.
I didn't know you were so poetic.
Yeah, I'm not. I think that was the bad bit about it as well.
Fair enough. But so we'll talk a little bit about like, so obviously your dad was into cycling, but like, you're quite like, your whole kind of life is quite intertwined into cycling, I guess. So your girlfriend Emma works for Team Ineos. Her brother Pete, until recently was still pro, I guess. He's on a break at the moment. And then her other brother coached you for a little while as well.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of other connections as well. So there's like, I guess the question is like, you're obviously like fully entrenched in there, like Mike Lawson as well, best mate, mechanic, all that kind of stuff. How do you manage to balance that kind of social versus professional kind of thing?
I think it's when you're at a race, like especially if Emma's there, I'm just really thinking about the race. It's not some people might think it's like could be a distraction or could be a good thing, but it don't really make a difference to me. Emma's getting on with her job most of the time. Like she's usually pretty busy on race, whether it's looking after VIPs or just helping out wherever she can. And I'm even though it seems like you have a lot of time when you're at a race, in reality you don't. You come back from the stage, get a massage, you're having your food, and then by that time all you want to do is just sit on your bed and chill out. And and then after you finish that, it's time to go to bed. So from breakfast you go back upstairs, pack your bag for the race, go on the bus, then you at the stage start. And there's not really much time for socialising as such at a race. So it's pretty easy to balance when you're actually in that environment. But then, with, as you were saying, Mike's a mechanic at BC now. It's the same story with him when he's on race, because obviously being a mechanic, he's pretty busy. And
but he's always got a second or two.
Yeah, he's always got a second. I suppose,
squeeze it in.
It's like,
I know so many good stories about Mike Lawson that I can't say on here.
No. But I think because it's happened over such a, well, not that long in the grand scheme of things, but quite a long period of time. Like, it's it just seems pretty normal. Like, 'cause I've known Mike since I was 12, and when he first started working at BC, that was when I was like making my way off the program, so there wasn't much, there wasn't much like interference there really, and so I just still see him as one of my mates. And when I am at a race with GB now, usually I'm just trying to prep for the race. So
I guess the more like intense discussion about that is like, what's it like to have your girlfriend's brother coaching you?
It was pretty good actually. Like, Tim's a really good coach, and he's pretty down to earth, and
we kind of helped you ascend into the pro peloton, I guess, as well.
Yeah, so he coached me for 2016 and 2017 season. So the 2 years before I joined, Sky then, now Ineos, and and that was when I actually started getting quite a few more results. I think that wasn't just down to Tim, that was down to my mentality changing towards it. Like, then first 2 years in under 23, I did just dick around. And I don't regret any of that. Maybe if I'd have took it serious from when I first turned under 23, I maybe could have turned pro a year earlier.
Everyone does a bit though, I think.
But it's like, them first 2 years for me, when I was on the academy, it was like me being at uni. It was like the first time I moved away from home, and I was just living.
It was
life
only 20 minutes down the road from where you used to live.
I was just living life like a normal 18-year-old who just moved out of Homewood. Too many nights out.
Factory.
Too many times in factory. And then, sort of just like...
Chris Froome's been in factory.
He has,
yeah. And then sort of just like still doing cycling on the side type thing. And then when the 2016 season started, I was like, right, really need to start knuckling down here if I want to actually make something of this. And that was what I did want to do. And and Tim really helped me from the coaching side through that. And essentially he was the coach who got me my first pro contract.
Because you see a lot of riders take the more traditional path where they'd, especially on the GB team, they'd be in there a little while, and then say Duel or Dibbo or anything like that. They kind of just get plucked out of there. But you had a slightly different path from there.
Yeah, so
a lot of time with JLT as well, and things like that.
So like I said, started riding for Wiggins in 2015, and that was when basically slowly came off the academy, and from there went to JLT. I had an offer to stay at Wiggins, but there was a lot of under 23 guys there, and still it was still a team based around getting the team pursuit guys to the games in the best condition. So I knew they were always going to have priority over me, so it was always going to be hard to make teams. Whereas at JLT they pitched to me that I'd be a leader there and essentially get to pick my race program, and So
yeah, because you started winning a lot more when you went to JLT. Like, maybe you had that big bushy beard. There'd always be some saliva dried off on the side of it as he's sprinting towards the finish line.
Yeah.
But no, it was like impressive results, I guess. But was there ever a moment where you kind of like, did you always believe you'd be able to get to Pro Peloton, or was there a little bit of kind of thinking that I've missed the boat a little bit?
I think when I was, I keep referring back to it, but then first 2 years as under 23, I thought it might have been a bit too far out of reach. But then when my third year, when I seemed to step up quite a bit, and then my fourth year again, and that's, I suppose, somewhere between that third and fourth year was when I started believing that it was possible, and it sort of worked well, because that was the motivation, and then I was getting the results, which was making it even more possible. So then it was a bit of a snowball effect, and I just started working harder, and then got to where I am.
It's just about working harder.
Pretty much, yeah. It sounds simple, but
well, it seems like that in road cycling a bit. It's like who can suffer the most a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, if you do it the right way, like quite a few riders in the past have just thought it's about suffering every day, and you just dig yourself into a hole then. So you need the right people around you to tell you when you're doing too much or when you're doing too little, and sometimes it's hard to hear if you're doing too little and you think you're doing enough.
You need a good support network around you, don't you?
Yeah, so it's brutal, but you need that some of the time. And then if you take it too far, you need someone to tell you not like to back off, and that wasn't really ever my issue. But
well, you're always the guy who needed to kick up the arse instead of
pretty much.
What, even today, or not so much?
Not as much now.
Yeah.
Like I hate training alone. So with Connor as my coach now, Connor Taylor, he's a really good motivator.
Yeah, he is.
He puts a lot of effort into me, to be fair. Like if I'm having to train on my own, he'll try and follow me in the car and stuff, and just give me that support. And it's I think what the support system I've got now is really working for me.
Yeah, so I'm quite interested hear baby girl. I'm quite interested to hear how it actually works from being a continental rider to becoming pro. So do you get approached by Dave Brailsford? Does he like knock on your house door, or how does?
Come in, mate. Come for a cup of tea.
They got the spoons for a couple of pints.
He's like, baby girl, I'm here. but how does it work? That would be quite interesting to hear about.
For me, it was pretty easy. I got approached by an agent, Gary McQuaid, when I was a junior. I wasn't really sure.
That sounds a lot seedier than it
actually is. I wasn't really
you
sure.
You want to be a star?
I can make you a star.
I can make you a star.
That's what I was thinking when I first got approached, and me and Teo both got...
That was actually what you were thinking when you first got approached?
No, I was like...
What?
I was like, what?
I was just joking. Oh, yeah, that's actually what it was like.
It's like, you don't... Like, when you're 17 or 60 maybe, I was like, what do I need an agent for? Like, this bit strange. And Teo got approached by an agent at the same time as me, and we were on the...
Geo Gegenhardt.
Teo Gegenhardt, yes. And we were on the ODP at that time, and we just spoke to BC about it, and we were like, what is the crack with agents? Like, what are they for? What do they do? And they basically
told you not to go anywhere near them, basically.
No, they said, like, basically for the road you essentially need an agent, and I think that's true unless you're like a real big name. Like, I'm not sure if Froome has an agent. I don't think he does. I think he just has a lawyer to read through his contracts.
So they take a cut of your
they take. Well, I've not even given my agent any money yet, because I'm not earning enough. So they take a cut. Every agent's different, but they take a cut after a certain point.
We haven't talked about agents much. I think we should.
No, we haven't. No.
So so for the splinters, it's a little bit different. So we're tied in. We're obviously we can only ride for the national team pretty much. There's no pro teams. So when we have agents, we just use them for commercial opportunities pretty much, and then they'll take 20%.
Yeah.
And average, you've had more agents than me. You've had every agent in the country going.
Yeah, it's really hard to find a good agent, actually.
I think mine's quite good.
Yeah,
But you have to click with them, I think.
Yeah. I think every agent is pretty much the same, 20% cut.
You had a really good deal with a while because you were with Ed's agent, so you got all the work that Ed couldn't do, pretty much. For a little while, a couple of years ago.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't tell me, but I probably did, yeah.
No, but Ed was like, "Oh, I can't do this here."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a bit different for the road, because I'm not sure if there's a UCI course for agents.
Oh, so it's regulated.
So
it's not for us as well. You can decide to be an agent tomorrow if you want to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they actually have to take that course, but a lot of them have done. And generally off your actual contract, they take 5%.
Okay.
And then each agent's different for commercial stuff. And quite a few riders have agents just for the contracts and then a separate commercial agent.
And are we talking, have you ever seen Team America?
Yes.
Okay, so when he's just left that Broadway show and this guy opens a limousine and he has to come in and he's like, he just basically and then it always goes wild from there. Is it proper is it not like, it's a bit like is it a bit wheelie dealer in the kind of road world or not so much?
Not really. To be fair, the riders take a bit of a step back in the contract negotiations.
Well, that's good because then it takes it off your shoulders.
Yeah, exactly, and you're just able to train then and not really think about it.
Yeah, because you don't want to be negotiating with Dave B.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it probably wouldn't, but you don't want it to affect race selection, stuff like that. I think, I'm pretty this team. It wouldn't. We just send the strongest strongest team to each race, no matter what. We don't care if someone's leaving or.
I guess that's
whatever.
that's the difference with Team Ineos is that it's not about your name; it's about what you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
So you never see them signing up like riders who are kind of maybe kind of getting a little bit. So it's probably a little bit. So in rugby's probably the best example. So in rugby, you see a lot of the New Zealanders and the there's Aussies that are really good, but past it basically, and then they end up at the end of their career they end up playing in France, and then they get a shit ton of money basically. But at Ineos, that's what's different about it. It's all about the here and now.
Yeah, it's all
the future, I guess.
It's all performance first.
Yeah,
whoever's performing at that time, and whoever can perform the best in a certain role which they need at a race, that's the person who'll go to the race. And it doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're leaving at the end of the season. It's all about getting the best results for the team at that time.
That's really interesting that BC kind of welcome an agent coming into your career, I guess, because I think for us it's not always the other way around, but there's always a little bit of hesitance about bringing in agents with sprinters, because I remember there was a thing a while ago where British Cycling were sponsored by Sky, and the rider got a deal with Virgin. Not Virgin Media, but a different brand of Virgin, because they've got hot air balloons and all kinds of other stuff on the go, and that was a real big conflict, and that ended up going legal and stuff like that. So I think with sprinters, because agents are only going with commercial deals, sometimes there's a little bit of hesitance in BC a little bit about getting agents on board.
I think as well, looking from the performance side of ththings, because at the end of the day, if you're doing an appearance, you're not recovering the best you can.
Well, it depends on the appearance.
I think because that's another thing with our team. All our personal appearances have got to get cleared by our coach, and then they tell senior management about it.
Yeah.
And they will.
You can't conflict with any of the sponsors.
Yeah, you can't conflict with any of the sponsors, and it's
similar to us, isn't it?
It's down to the trainer as well.
So how does it work for you? You want to do an appearance? How does that work?
I go to my coach, ask him, I've got an appearance this day, am I allowed to do it? And he says, yeah, we can work around it, or no, you're 2 weeks out from Worlds and you have to
You're going like
recover.
a sack of shit. You need to get better. Yeah.
So it just depends what, like, if it's around now, it's off season now. Now I can do an appearance if I want to work the training around it, and then. But if it's closer to competition, I wouldn't do it. But I wouldn't even ask my coach to do it unless it's like, I don't know, outrageous amount of money. But
well, that's the balance, isn't it? Like
for me, the performance matters more than the money.
Or a bag of good coffee beans.
Yeah, a bag of good coffee. But you've spoken to me in the past where you're like, I've got this really good deal, but it falls 2 weeks from Worlds or something like that. Yeah. It's just a toss-up, isn't it, between making it work and making it not, I guess. Yeah,
because you want it, but then you also want to go well. Because when you grow up in performance sport, you always get told, stay off your feet, recover, don't do anything that tires you out outside of.
But that's kind of changed a bit, because whenever we used to travel, we never used to see anything, and now we actually make a point of seeing the place that we go to a little bit, like Niagara Falls, and like you just came back from New York City and you actually saw a bit of the city and stuff like that. It's changing a bit.
It's changing. I think it's because we're getting older. When we were on academy, I remember when we first got on the academy, you were scared to go on a night out because
it didn't stop us though.
The first year, Kian used to stay in all the time.
No, the first 2 years it did stop you. Well, it was only because like again a certain lady who named the main nameless like got in a little trouble because he ended up like leaving a drunk voicemail on one of the coach's phones.
Really? I don't even know about that.
He's Welsh. Do you not know? He doesn't
talk about it after.
He doesn't write anymore.
No.
So he left a drunk. Do you know about it?
I know about it.
He knows about it. Yeah. So he left a big like rambling drunk voicemail on his coach's phone saying like, yeah, I'm not going to be training tomorrow. I'll be fine.
The classic.
And he got absolutely destroyed because of it, which makes sense because you need a good kicking. But we've got an agent coming on the podcast pretty soon actually.
Have we?
Yeah. So we're getting Charlene Jones. Previously joiner, so she's done the UCI course and everything like that, so we could ask her more about it there.
Yeah,
but you say you like I want to talk a little bit more about like kind of building on your support network. So you say you're quite a social guy, but like obviously like we talked about this in the podcast before when I went to visit you boys at altitudes, and like even when there's three of you still get that kind of cabin fever. Like there's something quite lonely about being a Tour de France, a kind of pro peloton rider, or can be.
Yeah, and I think for me, I am a proper extrovert. Like, I need to be around people, and sometimes you don't have that when you're in altitude camp in Isla in July when there's not really much going on. It's it can be a pretty lonely place, and I think that's where your support system comes into it. You really need people around you that that support you. And
so who helps you in the day to day? Is it like your girlfriend or your family or your friends, or is it a mixture?
I think Emma's the biggest help to me. Obviously it helps that she understands the sport, she's grown up around it. She hates cycling herself, like she doesn't like riding a bike, but she completely understands the sport, and that's like a really big help for me. And it's like a strange thing to say, but whether I'd be in the same situation now without the support of her, I don't know.
Do you know what my favourite story is about Emma supporting you? When she messaged you asking you, "Oh, baby girl, are you on a road ride?" And you're replying, "Yeah, I am." And then
I wasn't.
but she had like a tracking app on her.
Find My Friends or something.
Find My Friends on the phone. She knew Lawless was at home, so Emma FaceTimed Lawless. Lawless panicked, put a cycling shirt on, jumped on his bike in his jeans or pajamas or whatever with a cycling shirt on, FaceTiming her and saying, yeah, I'm just riding. I'm busy. But she could see on the Find My Friends app, you're riding around the block.
Yeah, that's...
Is that what you need? You need
that was a classic.
You need that little push, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes, like...
There's no shame in it. I think some people dismiss it as laziness, but it's about what works for you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's just what makes you tick, I suppose.
I love how you didn't confirm or deny if that still actually happened.
It happened.
My favourite one.
I love that. Just whip outside, put a cycling jersey on it. Yeah, I'm on the road. I'm cycling.
But yeah, I think a lot of it, like, 'cause that was a few years ago now. I think a lot of it came down to maturity and not really knowing what I wanted to do. At the end, like, I think that was 2016. I was getting paid too much money for what I was doing at JLT, really. I was just riding around doing a couple of crits in Britain, and not to put down the British scene in any way, but crits are just what I'm naturally good at. So I didn't really need to train to win and keep the team happy. So the motivation there to train, there wasn't really any. Like, not looking towards the future, I was just looking at like what I needed to do at that point, and I could get away with not training that much.
But that's kind of what I meant about earlier when I said to you, was there ever a time that you thought I wouldn't go pro peloton? Not necessarily because it's easy, but you see a lot of talented British riders who maybe get into that comfort zone, I guess, of doing the Tour Series or doing the crits. And they're kind of quite happy to be a kind of British prospect instead of being a World Tour prospect.
Yeah, I think the only thing that stopped me doing that was, even though I was good at the crits, I didn't really enjoy them that much. I thought, like, especially the Tour Series, I'm not a massive fan of the format of the racing. For some people and some of the fans, they really like it. But for me, that wasn't the reason I got into cycling, like the team format and stuff like that. I like it when there's a winner of the race, not like a team winning. And I think that's one of the good things about cycling. Like, it's an individual sport, but it's a team effort to get that one rider across the line. And in a race like the Tour Series, it's not, you don't get riders committing for one rider. And yeah, like that. Yeah, I just didn't enjoy that format of racing.
So what's your take on the British scene now? Because obviously, like, a lot of the guys had a pretty tough time because a few teams went down the pan, including kind of the Africondo JLT, which had been like, I guess, the stepping stone for a lot of riders to make it big, because they do a lot of the races which weren't as commercially popular in the UK, but would give the riders a good chance to kind of progress. Like, what's your take on the British scene at the moment? Do you think it's in a good place, or is struggling a little bit, or? So
I have quite a good relationship with John Herity, who ran JLT, and it was the longest standing continental team in the country. So I think that's what made people's eyebrows raise quite a bit, that it was that team that went under. But when I was speaking to John about it, he said what people don't realise is that this happens every 10 years or whatever. But because cycling's more in the public eye now and it's a lot more popular, that's why people are taking notice. So he's pretty confident that the British scene will rebuild itself again and get back to where it was.
So you put your optimism, because I remember I was speaking to someone the other day and they were saying, if you look at other sports, you got, like, especially football or rugby or anything like that, you got clubs and teams that have been around for hundreds of years, like, and then they're going to stay there as well. It's like, why do you think there's that fragility with cycling, that there's teams that can last even like 8 months, or like don't get off the ground at all? Like, why do you think there's that such a kind of short-term view of cycling the whole time?
The whole business model of cycling is completely different. Like, you don't have, like, the team name isn't like the club's name. Yeah. Like, for instance, Manchester United or whatever football club you choose. It's always the name of the team is always the title sponsor. So it's just whether you can find a title sponsor, and that's what keeps the team running. And that is the only income which the teams get. There's no money from TV rights or ticketing sales, because there's never any tickets. You just go and stand by the road and watch it. So yeah, the sole income for the team is purely off sponsors. So if they're not there, there's no team.
Because the question kind of is bigger than that as well, because even with the track side, like you said, you were inspired to take up cycling by going to the Revs, the Evolution series, and they're not on the go anymore either. It seems like, yeah, for me anyway, I find that a little bit concerning that there's, you know, the Manchester Levs anyway used to be like sold out. There'd be 4 or 5 a year. There's always good money for the riders and stuff like that. But then just like for whatever reason, the next year it's just gone. Do you feel that a little bit in, you know, being part of that whole kind of precarious system? Does it ever feel like you're on a bit of a knife edge? Because I guess Sky Ineos kind of went through that period as well.
Yeah, I felt exactly that when we were told about Sky pulling out. Yeah,
Well, you actually genuinely believe that might be it?
For the team, possibly. But then I think all the riders had a good amount of faith because all our office staff are the best at what they do. And obviously...
Shout out to Emma.
Yeah, shout out to Emma, marketing executive. But yeah, like, and even Dave and Fran, they know exactly what they're doing. They are really good at the job, and I think a lot of us had faith that they could come up with a new sponsor, and yeah, it was sort of the attitude of anyone can, they can. So yeah, it was just it was a bit. I don't really know what the word would be to describe the feeling. I think
kind of
everyone,
like a sigh of relief, I guess, once they've signed a new.
Yeah,
one,
once they signed the new deal, it was a big relief, but all the riders did well to keep spirits up. Obviously, the night we were told, we were all a bit just shell shocked and like, oh God, like what's going to happen? Like, and there was people on the team on, like Bernal, for instance, he was on a long term contract, so God knows what he was thinking. He thought he was safe for, I don't know how long his contract is, but it's quite a few years, and then to be told that, like in December, I think it was before the season even started. It could have gone two ways. It could have motivated everyone to get results and for the team or for themselves individually. It worked well because we all just came together as a team and was like, right, let's save this team. Let's get the best results we can for the team. Let's make it the most attractive team in cycling for a new sponsor to come on board. But then it could have gone the other way where people could have just raced for themselves and looking to go to a new team, try and find results.
Oh, so you got that balancing act where like someone's suddenly thinking, I need to get my Palmeiras on the go, basically, and then the team falls apart.
Yeah.
But if you look at the team, it would be stupid for someone not to sponsor the team because like the best team in the world, isn't it? Like
you say that, but it's not easy though, is it? You know.
No, but if you sponsor the team, you're probably gonna win the Tour, hopefully.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out, yeah. But it's easier to sponsor this, like find a sponsor for this team than maybe a smaller team.
No, I know what you mean. So I guess is that kind of like a growing theme within pro cycling as well? Because I get a little bit frustrated sometimes because we're, I don't know. I guess when I left, you were on like kind of 3-month contracts at a time, pretty much, because you're on that quarterly review thing at the moment, kind of, yeah. But like, so I I was kind of felt when I was a rider, you're kind of on the knife edge anyway. But with pro cycling, and it seems to be that everyone's moving away from the kind of long-term deals and going a little bit more towards the kind of 1-year contracts, because you'll always see a result pretty much out of a rider that's got 1 year left, either on the contract or has a 1-year contract. Like they need to get one good result that year, otherwise they're fucked for the year after, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's mainly with the older riders that have been around a few years, and they're just trying to get a bit more longevity out of their career, and the sign a 2 or 3 year deals, sit back, chill out for a bit, and then they're like, oh, right, need to get another result, get another contract. And
but you see that happening as well. Like there's people that will get a 3-year contract, and for 2 years it's easy street.
Yeah, there's definitely riders guilty of that.
Yeah.
But I think now the sport's changing quite a bit anyway, because the level's just going up and up and up. You always need to be nearly in peak form. You need to, there's less now where it's, apart from the guys that are going to win the Tour, instead of there being as many peaks and troughs, you need to just be at a good level all the time, because you could just be called into a race like in, I don't know, like 3 days time or whatever, you could get a phone call and say, right, we need you to do this race, and you need to be at a good level to perform there and do a job for the team.
Because you are a bit under pressure this year, aren't you? Because it's your last year under contract with Team Ineos, so you're probably under pressure to try and, get a new contract or.
Yeah, but I don't. The most pressure I feel is the pressure off myself. I tend not to let the pressure from other people affect me. Like the pressure I give myself is enough because I want to do well. I want to win races. And equally, I want my teammates to win races, and I want to do the best job I can for them. And that's what motivates me. I don't really feel the pressure off other people. It's like after stage 3 at Yorkshire, when I took the lead, I was absolutely fuming at myself. I messed up the sprint, just a typical mistake. I just didn't lay off Duel's wheel coming into the sprint. I was just sat really tight on the wheel, and then basically just didn't have any room to rush the gap once the sprint opened out, and I ended up losing the stage by half a wheel or whatever, and that could have been the difference. I don't know whether it would have been, but it could have been. And I was fuming at myself, even though I took the race lead. I felt I could have won that stage. And Dave B, I was on the phone to Dave B, and he basically told me that the team were going to ride for me the next day. And I think, that could have felt like a lot of pressure from the team on me then. But I was already putting pressure on myself because I wanted a good result myself, so I didn't really feel it off. I don't really feel it off any external factors.
Is that kind of call like totally kind of confidence inspiring, because so saying a team like Ineos, that everyone's going to be pretty much drilled to help you win, or is there ever a little bit of a question mark that someone might just go a bit AWOL?
Not really.
Not in that team.
Nah.
No.
Like all the riders we've got on our team, it's a good group of guys, and everyone has the same mentality as the team comes first. It's whatever the best result the team can get is what we go for, no matter which rider it is. And I'd like to tell you what it's like in other teams, but obviously I can't because
was a little bit from like Wiggins and JLT and stuff though, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a bit different there, because there's not as teams don't have to be as drilled in lower caliber races, because the strong riders are always going to be at the front because the gaps in ability are quite a bit bigger. Whereas at World Tour level, it's any pro race, it's the difference between winning and losing is usually quite a bit smaller than amateur races. So the team really does need to pull together. Whereas at amateur races, you can get away with having, say, half the team trying to get up there, and then once it gets to the last day or coming down into the sprint, that's when you start working as a team.
Tell us, so Tour De Yorkshire is probably like your biggest accolade so far. Did you go into that race expecting to win, or not so much?
No, definitely not. I thought stage 4 was always going to be too hard for me. Even after I took the lead on stage 3, my main goal for the race was to try and win on one of the first 3 stages, and that's why I was so annoyed at myself when I messed up on that third stage. I thought that was my individual hopes of anything over for that race. I mean, it wasn't too bad of a run up until that point. I got, I think, a 9th, a 3rd, and 2nd in each of the stages, up until stage 3, and I suppose like some people would be happy with that, but I knew I was going pretty well and really wanted a stage win from that race, and so I thought all my chances of winning anything were over after stage 3,
But you had a pretty like tough run in the lead up to that competition, I guess, as well. So you kind of pulled out of a few different races and stuff like that. So I guess to like put yourself back in the mindset to think I'm going to pick up a few stage wins was a pretty big turnaround from where you'd been early in the season, I guess.
Yeah, and like obviously the classics are the real tough races, and I think sometimes I'm a bit guilty of overcommitting to a team role. Not in the fact that just that like I'll know the team needs to be first into a corner, and it could be 50k into the race, and I've gone flat out into that corner when sometimes it'd be ideal for the team to be first into it, but might not be too bad being second team.
Well, explain that a little bit to me. So like, it's like surely that's what the team want. It's like you're there and you've got your role, and they want you to deliver someone at a good speed, I guess. Is that?
Yeah, but you need to be able to do that job for a good amount of time into the race.
Oh, so you were like committing too hard; it was too short, I guess.
Yeah,
like
essentially, and which resulted in me just being a bit goosed in a lot of the classics. And then, we didn't know who was going to have the last spot for Roubaix. It was going to be between me and Filippo Ganna, and because Ganna had been a bit ill and was supposed to be riding, and he didn't know if he was going to get over his illness. Then in the end, he was good to ride, and so I flew home from Roubaix, and the next morning, it was a good job they didn't pick me to ride, because I woke up and just couldn't bend my knee at all. For some reason, it just got a load of fluid in my knee, and I had to go for an MRI scan. They couldn't work out why it was there, and then the day after that, I went and got it drained, and we still don't know what fully went on with my knee, but that was only, I don't know, like 2.5 weeks out from Yorkshire, which was a big goal of mine. And so that was it wasn't ideal preparation, but managed to, after I got over my knee injury, get a good couple of weeks training in and came out of it well.
Do you still take like a knockback from that kind of situation where, like, you know, because like Ganna's a top class rider, I guess. Like, he's world IP champion, like one of the strongest, like from my point of view anyway, one of the strongest riders we've seen in a long time. Do you feel like is that actually like a mental knockback that someone's picked Ganna over you, or is it just kind of like, oh, you know, I'm gonna wait until it's my time?
I think you've got to, in this team, hope for the best and expect the worst, because there's so many good riders that can be picked above you, and that's just part of the deal. Of signing for Ineos, it's just stacked with hitters, so you know it's going to be tough to get into every team. So yeah, it's like you don't really take it as a knockback. You just take it as, right, I need to. You always get feedback off the DSs and the coaches on after every race on what you've done well, what you've not done so well. So it's just sort of, they'll tell you why you've not been picked. So that gives you a good idea of areas you need to improve on to get selected for that race the year after.
So I guess Yorkshire was like a kind of crazy contrast then, because effectively for Yorkshire you had Chris Froome riding for you, which is like a hell of a statement, I guess.
Yeah, and I think at that moment, didn't really realise like how big that was. I was just concentrating on the job in hand, and that whole race, the whole last stage, I was just focusing on, right, get over the Chevin at 20k to go, and then on that climb, 5k to go, make sure I'm on Van Avermaet's wheel, because I knew he was going to attack on that climb. He did it the year before, and realistically, it was the only place he was going to attack to try and win the race. That climb suits him perfectly, but I also knew I can go well up a short climb for a minute. Like that's what I'm good at. So I just knew I needed to be on his wheel, and if I could stay on it, I could. If I couldn't, it was just one of them things.
What were you thinking when Van Avermaet attacked and you were on his wheel? Were you like hurting pretty badly, or did you feel pretty good?
Oh, I was hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was hurting big time. I reckon it's the deepest I've ever dug in a bike race, and I was just glad we had Eddie already up the road. Because if it was just me and Van Avermaet, he'd have obviously looked at me to ride. Because I was the leader of the race, and Camp, who was in second on GC, was on equal time, so it would have been ideal if I could have got to the finish in front of him with a bit of a time gap, rather than risk it in the time bonuses as a big bunch sprint at the end. So yeah, it was. I was glad Eddie was up the road, because I'm not sure I had much legs to ride and try and keep it away towards the finish.
So it was planned that Eddie was gonna go off the front?
Well, we knew on the Chevin people were gonna try and attack, so he thought, rather than be on the back foot and chasing, let's just be on the front foot. Let's make the first move, and then that's when Froome attacked about 500 meters from the top, and then Eddie basically countered on the flat over the top of the Chevin, and yeah, it worked out perfectly. It looked like some sort of master tactics by the team, but in reality, it was like, it's high risk just putting everything into me, because we didn't know how I was going to go on the Chevin, so we do need to still attack the race, and if I get over it, I get over it. If I don't, I don't. But it was always we always knew it was going to be, the team said to me, it's harder for us to win the race without you in that front group than it is for us to win it with you in the front group, because I was leading the race and Eddie and Froome were the next best place, and they needed to put time into Van Avermaet and Camp to win the race overall, and that was always going to be pretty hard with that running, especially with that climb 5k to go. It was not enough for Froome already to drop Van Avermaet. If anything, he would have dropped them on it.
Were Phil and I ever in your thoughts that while you were going up that climb that you were going to be going out for dinner with us, and that you just couldn't take the lippings if you got dropped off of that wheel?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'd like to say we played a small part in that victory, but anyway, it was like that. It seemed like that was a real emotional kind of moment for you, though, as well. It's like especially in contrast to stage 3, where you're slapping your bars and probably weren't in a position to speak to anyone for a little while. Like when you crossed that line with the blue jersey and you knew you'd held on to it to win the race overall, that was a massive day for you.
Yeah, like I remember crossing the line
because you had dinner with Phil and I later on coming up. Yeah.
I remember crossing the line.
Phil paid actually as well,
knowing I'd won the race and thinking, yes, I'm going out for dinner with Callum.
Nice. No, but it was because I remember we were sitting for that dinner, which we were so looking forward to, and
we weren't really allowed to we weren't allowed to say who was sitting with us at dinner.
Are we not?
They were like,
yeah, but you might have just had a sparkling water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Dool was there having sparkling water because he might have got picked for the Giro.
Which hasn't happened yet.
Which didn't happen. No, the Giro's happened.
The Giro's been and gone, mate.
Oh, has it?
Fuck, you're so behind.
Man, I've been in America with no Wi-Fi or anything.
The Giro
I don't know what's happened.
The Giro finished about 2 weeks ago.
Mate, it's done. The winner's over. It's finished.
How terrible. I'm ashamed of myself.
We're on Tour of Switzerland at the moment, aren't we? Yeah.
The Dauphine's just finished.
The Dauphiné,
I've seen it's just finished, and now Swiss is on.
So who do you think is going to win the Tour de France? Chris Froome? Is that what you're going to say next?
No.
Anyway, but yeah, so I remember we were having that dinner, and you said you were actually like crying with happiness. So that was like a major step for you.
Yeah,
like what made it so special? Was it just the win itself, or the fact that the team got behind you, or you were with Dool and your mates, and like what made it special?
I think because I had not the start of the season that I was hoping for. And the fact I wasn't expecting to really get up there on GC at Yorkshire, it was like, yeah, it was pretty overwhelming, really. And to have Dool there and Eddie, who are my two closest friends on the team. To have them.
I played golf with Eddie.
Did you?
Yeah, he lost.
Is he not very good at it?
Well, he's not good at crazy golf.
No.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, to have them in the team was just, that was pretty special. And then for Connor to be there at the end as well, I just remember, like, I was holding it together, like I was determined not to cry. And then like I just finished like getting congratulated by Dool, and then Connor came over. I was giving Connor a hug, and Dool was stood behind Connor as I was hugging him, and he was like, Dool just said, "He's gonna cry, he's gonna cry." And I was like, "You bastard." And then, that's when it just all came out, and like managed to get myself together again for the interviews, and I was just on such a high. And then, but the weirdest thing about it was the next day, like that high had gone, I was hungover, and I was just.
Why were you hungover? It was just a lovely meal.
Just a lovely meal. I was hungover.
I know Phil wasn't hungover.
I wasn't hungover.
I think
I was hungover.
maybe I was just dehydrated from chasing the ducks.
There's ducks. Anyway,
And like I felt pretty down after that, and I just sat there just on my own, eating some crap food, just thinking, may as well retire now. Like what should I do now? And
was it really that quick up and down? It was literally just like shoot up to the stars and then
Yeah.
straight back down to like, okay, I'll submit my training peaks for this week.
Yeah, it was like I had a bit of a break after Yorkshire, like a planned break, but then it was I think
Cheers for the invite. Did you go on holiday?
No, just
staycation. Oh, like nice.
And
baby girl.
I don't think I used that break well enough, because I was still sort of thinking about the next races coming up.
Because you can get that call at any time.
Well,
in theory,
but I knew my next race was going to be Norway, which was a couple of weeks off. I think about 3 weeks later, and instead of just not thinking about the bike for a few days, I still had it in the back of my mind. I was still trying to like watch what I was eating a bit, and then I wasn't fully refreshed by the time I was having to start training again. I should have, like, I wasn't itching to get back on the bike, whereas if I'd have just completely not thought about cycling at all in them few days, I'd have probably been ready to really get back on the bike. And in the end, it didn't affect me too much, but it was just hard to get back that motivation.
But I guess the recovery element's really tough because, like, it's not only have you won the Tour de Yorkshire, you've got the call to say, like, the team's backing you, and it's the best team in the world that's going to be backing you as well. It's like that's the stress of managing the team as well as going like so deep as you did physically, just to hold on to Van Avermaet as he was like attacking up the climb as well. So it's a lot to kind of take in, I guess. Would you say?
Yeah, like.
So it's like physical, emotional, and then all these other things as well.
I think more like the emotional and mental side of it was like, I didn't think I'd be able to follow Van Avermaet up that climb, but somehow I managed to do it, and trying to get my head around that, and then like realize I wasn't just making up the numbers in that race was like, it was pretty hard to get my head around, especially as it's only my second year pro, and after taking a kicking most of the year last year, and then still taking a bit of kicking at the start of the year, then to go and win Yorkshire, which is like one of the biggest races on the calendar for the team. It was just overwhelming. Yeah,
pretty much a home race for you as well.
Yeah,
Lancashire, Yorkshire, it's all the same.
Yeah.
So
what's next for you?
So coming up, I'm going to Route de Sud on Wednesday.
That's a cycle race, Philip.
Where's that?
In the Pyrenees.
I knew that.
That sounds hilly.
It's not too bad. There's one real mountain day.
Then there's Giro d'Italia after that, of course.
Yeah. And then Nationals is a week after. a week after that finishes. So yeah, hopefully try and get a result there.
Okay, cool.
Oh, we've got our bike ride coming up as well.
Yeah, I've got a big bike ride.
Is that
the
secret
day
or is
after
that known?
Is that
I don't know.
secret? It's known for me.
Well, I don't want to. I don't need to keep it secret. I'm
No,
not trying to.
I don't know if Lawless was.
Connor knows about it.
Connor knows
Oh,
about
okay.
it. Is Connor coming? No, we probably
No.
can't talk about that. He's not coming.
Yeah, we got.
He'll be
a
listening to
group-
that podcast and he'll be like, I'm invited. I'm invited.
Turn up. Yeah, we've got a group
We'll
bike
have,
ride
we'll
coming
have a
up.
support car. We'll have the rain bags in the car.
Connor's the worst person ever for bailing. He would just
Yeah.
he'd sack it off just the last
Yeah.
minute anyway.
Group bike ride.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But I think that's the thing. Is like I think the longer you end up being a professional, the more you realise it's like how important the rest is.
Yeah.
To like build you back up from those high moments, to build you back up from those low moments after you've won and stuff like that as well. And you're going to be sticking with Team Ineos, you think as well? Yet to be seen.
It's
Exclusive
yeah, like-
announcement on the podcast.
no, like
Go
Phil,
on.
like Phil said,
Give
it
us
is-
something.
It is my contract year, and yeah, I'm in negotiations at the moment, I suppose.
It's such a baller saying, "Oh,
So-
I'm in negotiations right now."
So like I want to stay at Ineos.
Do you think this podcast will help you get the deal over the line?
Yeah, maybe.
Is this why you're here right now?
Please.
So Dave, if you're listening.
Yeah. I mean, he's got your endorsement, hasn't he? And you're an ex-Pool Continental
Oh
rider.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have put a word in with Dave.
Yeah, I'll give him a text as well.
Yeah. No
Cheers.
worries.
We'll see what's going on.
No worries.
But no, thank you very. Hold on, we've got one last question before we finish, which is the whole point of this podcast is to find out what Phil's going to do after he does cycling. So what's your answer to that? Do you have any plans in place, or are you just kind of riding the wave? I guess.
Yeah, just riding the wave, as you said. But yeah, I'm not really sure what I'd like to do after cycling. Yeah, it's just concentrating on here and now at the moment.
That's not much help to you, is it?
Doesn't hurt me, but
I reckon
I would
your-
figure it out
reckon
one
your
day.
Yeah, you'll
stuff,
figure
mate.
it
I
I would
reckon your
figure-
stuff. You're not
I will figure it out.
bike
No,
shop.
he's-
Bike shop or dull.
No, he's going to be the people who move people with limited mobility around the airport. That's going to be Phil.
Yeah, I've been seeing quite a few at JFK last night.
Exactly. Yeah, you've got the work
Yeah.
experience.
Why not?
You've got a temperament.
Just drive around, sit down. It's a dream.
Be fine, run over people's heels in those golf pluggies.
Be horrible, wouldn't it?
But yeah, no, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah,
No problem.
Probably on the bike ride we're doing, we've got quite a few guys there. We could do a group podcast.
We could do a group one. I mean, that will probably get messy, but we could.
Yeah. Well, we've got us three, Duo, Debo,
A few others.
a few others.
Latham.
Is Latham
Latham
coming?
I thought he was coming, wasn't he?
I think you just made that up, you
Maybe
know.
I made it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got Gavin Thomas, Chris Froome's checked out of hospital and he's coming on the bike ride as well.
Great toll prep for G.
Yeah, he's coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, what could be better than riding with two splinters?
One on an e-mountain bike.
Are you taking your e-bike?
I
Or
hope.
are you driving?
I
He ain't
think-
driving, it's
no,
not allowed to
no,
come if
no,
he
I'm
drives.
riding, but I think I'd take my mountain bike and I hope it goes 80k or 70k, whatever we're doing.
We're doing 80k the whole way.
80, no, the distance.
Oh, we'll go the distance, yeah.
I hope so.
I mean, like if your e-bike fails, that's a lot of weight to pedal. Then
I know. Yeah.
get your little tow loop.
I
or
can't
something.
wait to get in a massive tailwind section
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
boot it because Phil will just run out of gears.
No. It will be fine.
Hey, you'll be spinning.
You'll
be spinning at over 150 RPM.
Callum will be getting dropped before me.
I did a 3-hour ride yesterday.
You have a whole
I saw that on Strava, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. 600
I
watts
did,
average.
I did a 3-hour ride yesterday as well.
No, you didn't.
Yes, on the Boris
No,
bike.
that doesn't count because you have to. Yeah, you can't go.
Do you know
over-
how hard it is to pedal one of these bikes?
Yes, I do. I use them all the time, but you can't go over half hour on them, so you have to like stop them
Yeah,
every half
that's
hour.
what we did. Half hour, stop, 1 minute, and then take it
Yeah,
out
so you
again.
did a very leisurely interval session then.
No.
Like, well, we'll find. Well, basically, I'm sure that'll be the next update in the podcast is how each one of us survived on this tour that we're going on.
Yeah, so...
Where are we going actually?
Wrexham, the
The-
lovely place that
The
is.
tour of Wrexham.
So there'll be no podcast for... How long are you away for?
I'm very busy.
10 days or something?
Yeah, about 10 days. Yeah,
And then hopefully we've got a few more coming up.
not enough commitment to the podcast, is it?
No, I'm away in Valencia, July.
We all do things, mate.
Yeah. I'm just telling you, you need to get some people.
All right, okay.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, baby girl.
Baby girl. Wiggin Wagon Wheel. I don't think we slipped into Lawless once, but you don't actually say his name that much when you're interviewing someone.
No. If you want to shout out your Instagram, contract agent.
What's your Instagram for everyone to follow?
Chris Lawless 95.
Ooh.
Exciting.
Twitter?
The same.
Oh, consistency, nice. Did your followers explode after Yorkshire?
They went up a few, but not that many. I don't hold myself out on Instagram like Duel does. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were about to say me there, so that's good. Yeah, Duel, terrible for that.
Yeah.
Awful. Anyway.
Just like that all the time.
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much for coming on, and tune in next week or the week after.
Sometime.
Sometime.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.